It's Senora Breivik, and today I'm going to be teaching you guys about one of my favorite websites known as wordreference.com. So wordreference.com is a bilingual dictionary that I like to recommend that students use when they are looking to expand their vocabulary in terms of writing, but also terms of speaking in their conversations. So you can see here this little drop-down menu will give you all the options, the different languages, that this site is able to translate to and from. So for the sake of our class, we are going to be using the English to Spanish as well as the Spanish to English translation. So I'm going to go ahead and make my selection, and let's start with an example. Let's go ahead and type in the word play. So I'm going to select it, and I'm brought to a page that looks like this. Up here at the top, you can see that there's a couple of different options. I can get a definition of the word. I can look at some synonyms. I can use the word in context. This conjugator button, this one is really cool. It's really just used for verb conjugation. So we're going to come back to this one at the end of the video. But looking down here, if I scroll down, there's a couple of different definitions or ways to say play in Spanish. So let's take a look at this first one here. So play. So if I look to the right of it, I see this V. So the V tells me that this is a verbo, this is a verb. And the parentheses tells me, well, in what context is this verb used? So here I can see do something for amusement, okay? And I see that in English below I have an example. So the children are playing. So how would I use the verb to play for amusement in Spanish? Well, if I look over here under the Español section, I'll see that the verb is jugar. And there is also an example here in Spanish. This one says, Los niños están jugando, which would be the translation. If I look down to the second example, I see that there is another way to say play, and it is also a verb, because we have that V there. But this time it is to perform on a musical instrument. So the example here in English would be, he plays the piano and the guitar. The verb here in Spanish would be tocar. And again, I have an example here in Spanish, which would be toca el piano y la guitarra. So let's keep scrolling down and let's see if we can find one that is a different part of speech. So if I scroll down, these all seem to be verbs, but down here I found an N, and the N stands for noun, which is a person, place, thing, quality, idea, etc. So if I look to the right in parentheses, I see that this would be a performance, such as a theater performance. So the word in Spanish would be obra. So obra, I can also see it says the NF here. So the N stands for nombre and the F stands for femenino. This would tell me that this is a feminine noun, which is helpful because now I know that I have to use la and una instead of el and un. It's feminine in this case. So if I continue to scroll down to the bottom, one of my favorite aspects of this website is the compound forms. So the compound forms, I like to say that these are a little bit more literal translations in English. So for example, let me see if we're writing a paragraph about baseball. Let's see if we can find how to say double play. So if I scroll down, let's see, they're alphabetical. Okay, there it is, double play. So if I want to say double play in Spanish, I'm going to scroll on over here to the right, and it's going to be doble jugada, which is really helpful if I'm writing a paragraph about baseball, one of my favorite sports. So there's also other, compound forms you guys can look into at the bottom too. So if I scroll on up to the top, I told you that we were going to return to the idea of the conjugator. So the conjugator here is a verb conjugator. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. I'm brought to a general menu, and I'm going to go ahead and type in, for example, the verb tocar. So we learned that the verb tocar is used for to play an instrument. So if I hit tocar, suddenly what pops up are all the different verb tenses in which that verb is conjugated into. So you have the present tense, you have some of the past tense, future, conditional. So obviously we are focusing right now on the present tense, so this is where you guys are going to want to be. So you find that it's toco, tocas, toca, etc. So this is a great aspect to use when you guys are wanting to double check your conjugation. All right, I hope you guys learned something helpful today. Any further questions, please shoot me an email or talk to me in class. Adiós, clase. Nos vemos.